So here are the notes, or no, these are not notes. This is the homework answers for Chapter 6, Lesson 6B. Take a look at them. You can check them. You can freeze this, whatever you need to do. I'm going to do each of them. So if you got one right and you don't need to hear it, you can zoom forward or you can listen to them all. So it's just dependent on what you need. All right. Number 1, Mr. Jones goes to the grocery store and he estimates what he will spend. Let me get my pen out because you know I want to do cubs and circle my numbers. He estimates that he will spend $120 when he does go to the grocery. Oh, when he goes to the grocery store this week. He actually spends 94. You know, when I see that word actually, I like to circle it with the number. The question is to find his percent error. As soon as I see that error with an E, I know my formula is E over A equals percent over 100. E is the error, A is the actual, which is why I need that number there. We're going to round to the nearest whole. Okay, in order to find the error, I have to take these two numbers, the 120 that he estimated and the 94 that he actually spends, and I'm going to subtract them. And you can use your calculator. I would always double check it with your calculator, but we're going to get 26. That 26 goes in the place of the E. And then I go to my problem to find the actual. Be careful, that should be a 94 equals x over 100. Now that I've done that hard work of plugging it in, remember you're going to cross multiply. 94x equals 2,600. To get x alone, we're going to divide both sides by 94. When I type in 2,600 divided by 94, I get a decimal. So 27.6. X equals 27.6. The question said to round to the nearest whole. Remember, this is the whole number here. So we look to the 6. If it's 5 or above, we give it a shove. This has a 28% error. That's how off his estimate was, by 28%. Next one, Marcus is estimating 230 people will attend the choir concert. There was an actual total of 300 people who attended. Find his percent error, again rounded to the nearest whole. This is something we did for Fun Night. We estimated how many people we thought would come so that we could figure out how much pizza and soda to have. So this is something real that we do. And now the next time I know how much more soda to get, how much pizza, not chicken wing pizza. People don't like that. Not enough. Anyway, so percent error, there's our E. So we're going to do error over actual equals percent over 100. To find the error, how wrong Marcus was, I'm going to take those two numbers, put the larger number on top, and I'm going to subtract them. That's going to give me 70. That goes in the numerator in place of the E, and I go back to my problem to find that actual total of 300 equals x over 100. Cross multiply, 300x equals 7,000. Double check there, there's 3 zeros. And divide by 300. You can type in 7,000 divided by 300, or you can remember that if you have zeros in the numerator and denominator, they can cross out, because that would be like that. In that case, it would be like dividing by 100. Either way, you're going to get x is equal to 23%. I don't know if that's rounded or not. 70 divided by 3. Yeah, 23.3. So that tells us to stay at 23. Okay. Eva estimates that 475 songs will fit on her MP3 player. The actual number of songs that fit is 380. Find her percent error. There's our E rounded to the nearest whole again. Error over actual equals percent over 100. Remember, it's a half a point for that formula. If you leave it off, you get a half a point off. If you put it in, you get your half a point. To find the error, I need those two numbers, the 475 that was the estimate and the 380, and I'm going to subtract those. I would double check that in your calculator and go back to the problem to find that A for actual. Actual number of songs is 380 equals x over 100. So 380x, when we cross multiply, is equal to 9,500. Divide both sides by 380. So that's 9,500 divided by 380. And, oh, that comes out even. That's just 25. X equals 25% error. She was 1/4 incorrect, 25%. Again, you can pause, you can rewind, you can go back, you can skip one, whatever it is you need, okay? This says spiral, which indicates to you this is something from earlier in the unit. So it's probably not the E over A formula, because that's the stuff we learned new. On the test, you're going to have to know everything. So make sure you're reading carefully. This problem says to find each percent of change. Look at that letter right there. As soon as I see the C for change, I'm going to do C over O equals percent over 100. It says to state whether the percent of change is an increase or a decrease. I'm going to do that right now. A change from 240 to 320. Are we going up or down here? So when we answer our final answer, it's going to be an increase, and we're going to round to the nearest whole. Okay? When you're given little information like this, it just says a change from 240 to 320. That means you're starting here and you're going to 320. So first we need to find how much the change that is. So we're going to take those two numbers. I always put the big number first. Okay, so 320 minus 240 gives me 80. Yes, 80. 80 over, and O stands for the OG, the original. The original is where you start from. Okay, you're going to 320, but you're starting from 240. So that's what that setup looks like. Once we have that hard part done, we cross multiply. 240x equals 8,000. Divide both sides by 240. And I believe this is one we have to round. 8,000 divided by 240 is, yeah, 33.3. So we're going to round that to a 33% change. I don't know what this is, but if I had a 33% increase in students, that's quite a few students that I'm going to have to think about for next year. If I had a 33% increase in my salary, I'm pretty happy about that. Most people get like 1 or 2% increase in their salary, so 33 is pretty big. If I'm talking about a 33% increase in my taxes that I have to pay, that's bad because that's going to be a lot of money. So that's a pretty significant chunk, 1/3. Okay. Next question. The table shows the number of youth 7 years and older who played soccer from 2004 to 2012. So we're looking at the table, kids that play soccer. Here's the years, and this is a number in millions. Now, when we calculate, we're not going to use the word millions. We're going to do what they did and just use decimals, so don't worry about that. Find the percent of change. Before I do anything, I look at that C from change and write my formula. C over O equals percent over 100. I'm looking for the change from 2008 to 2012, so I'm looking here and here. I like to mark up my problem so I can see specifically. First, is it an increase or a decrease? 13.3 to 13.8. This is going to be an increase. So I like to write that because I forget that part at the end. And we're going to round, be careful, we're going to round to the nearest tenth this time. Usually we're rounding to the whole, but this time the tenth. So the first thing we have to do is find the change. So we're going to take our two numbers and we're going to subtract. This is a difference of 5/10, so 0.5. The original would be the one that comes first. So in this case, 2008 comes before 2012. So this is 13.3 equals x over 100. We're going to cross multiply. So 13.3x equals 0.5 times 100 is 50. Okay? 0.5 times 100, if you don't believe me, is 50. All right? So then, to get x alone, making it messy here, we're going to divide both sides by 13.3. So 50 divided by 13.3 is 3.75. X equals 3.75. It says to round to the nearest tenth. The tenths place is right after the decimal. 5 or above, give it a shove. This is going to be 3.8%. That's a more decent increase. So maybe soccer people would like to see a bigger increase, but at least it's an increase. Oops, which reminds me, I'm supposed to write if it's an increase or a decrease, and that was an increase. So good thing I wrote that on my paper at the beginning, or I might have forgot. Last one. I think this is the last one. Yeah. Find the percent of change. As soon as I see that, I write C over O equals percent over 100 from 2006 to 2008. So I'm still using that same table. This time, 2006 to 2008. I'm going to use a different color. Is that an increase or a decrease? That is actually a decrease. At least if it's on your paper somewhere, we can get credit for that. 3.7 minus 3.3, if you type that in, is 0.4. The original was the one that came first, so that's 2006. So this is 13.7 equals x over 100. And when we cross multiply, we have 13.7x equals 0.4 times 100 is 40. Divide both sides by 13.7. Remember, we're rounding to the tenths place again. So 40 divided by 13.7 is 2.91. X equals 2.91. The tenths place is here. 5 or above, give it a shove. That is not. So we're going to have 2.9% decrease. There's scratches in my smartboard right here. What could have happened? Okay, so that's the homework. You are now going to be doing the review. I hope this was helpful. Remember, you can go back and listen to them again, slow them down, whatever it is you need. Have a great day.